and welcome to another episode of the Telnet Show. As always, we are your hosts. We have the fabulous Kirsha Fox, author of Son of Deception and The White Leaf Child. She's a homeschooling mom of four, avid reader, and gamer.
And my co-host is Julia J.K. Allen, editor, author, and author coach. She's a fantasy and horror author who loves to sprinkle magic on everything. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, and we're very excited to welcome our guest tonight. Tell us all about Ivy.
Ivy Young is a small-town country girl who devotes herself to being an amazing mother and loving wife while simultaneously running a business, writing novels, and working a full-time job. When she's not writing, she enjoys taking care of her horses and spending as much time making memories with her family as she can. We're very excited to have her on.
Yes, welcome. Such a busy person. Thank you for taking the time out to do the show.
Thank you guys for having me. I have been so excited. I cannot thank you guys enough for this opportunity.
Oh, of course. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your writing journey? What got you started as a writer, and how has it looked for you so far?
Honestly, I started writing a long time ago. I started writing, it was probably, I had notebooks full of back in fourth grade. It was always just a thing for me. And I would write fan fiction in my notebooks. I would write fan fiction online. And it just sort of grew from there into my own original works. I realized I would have more and more ideas.
Yeah. I feel like we all kind of have our, we all have kind of start out writing fan fiction in ways, whether that's you writing a story that involves your famous, or favorite famous person, or writing fan fiction from another author's world. I feel like a lot of authors start out with that because it's kind of an easy way, because it's world building's already done for you. It's an easy way to practice writing. So definitely nothing to be ashamed of there. I love that you have that history as well. I remember in middle school I wrote some really embarrassing fanfic about NSYNC because they were my favorite band. Yeah, so we all have a past. Yeah, we all have a past.
I think that it's a bit of a rite of passage for us, artists study the masters. We read books and we write fan fiction and we write embarrassing self-insert fantasies, and we but I think it's part of our development and finding our style and finding our voice and doing what brings us joy. So I think that you need all of that practice to launch yourself into your own creations, same as artists.
I agree. I do. I recommend anybody write fan fiction because at least it gives you that outlet. If you want to dabble in any kind of writing, start there.
Right, especially because it's like I said, it's kind of everything's built in already. You've got your characters, you already know what they're like. You've got your world building that's already done for you, and so it's a really easy and safe way to just practice writing
and have fun doing it.
Yeah, without all the nitty gritty of figuring everything out and developing all the stuff. You can just try out writing. So yeah, it's really great.
Yeah. So Ivy, tell us about the genres that you write and why did you choose those genres?
So I write primarily romance. It's with a touch of dark, a little bit of touch of dark. I wouldn't say he's a morally great main character. There are some cinnamon rolls in there, but right now it's mostly the morally gray male character. Eddie's been with me for about 8 years now in my head. And the world kind of built around him. I was just this cowboy that it's a Western romance with, it was really built around him. He was just somebody that I was this could be fun. And he's got the attitude and he's got the sass. And I was he's the kind of guy, the bad problem men that I used to go for. And I was I want a story where I can actually fix that guy to where it works.
Right.
I was okay, so we're going to make it to where it actually works out. But
yes.
And I do have other ideas down the way, but right now I'm just primarily focusing on the Wicked Ranchers series.
All right.
Okay. I think we can all blame Jane Austen once again for our fixation with wanting the bad guy to get better for us.
the we can fix them genre.
Yeah. Oh, but Daddy, I can fix them. Yeah.
He does though in this one.
Yes. No, I love that. Yeah. Oh goodness.
So 8 years is a long time to carry a character. Certainly not the longest. Can you tell us a little bit about your writing process? How do your ideas begin, and what's your process for getting them to published?
I have always grown up around horses. I've always grown up around the rodeo circuit. Farming, ranching, it's always just been a very big part of my life. And so I wanted to kind of just write what I knew. It was more of a comfort thing. It was like, I actually know what I'm talking about. I basically apply what I know. So that way I'm not trying to accidentally overstep a boundary or write something that I thought I understood and then I did not. And I was like, nah, I can live without that. That's what started that. And the reason I've carried him so long is I had a lot of self-doubt. Like I still have a lot of the imposter syndrome is real here.
Yeah.
I at least once a week have that existential crisis of this is going nowhere. I'm going nowhere and it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was my writing. I did it because I was like, you know what? I met at the time he was just my best friend and he's now my husband. And he's like, you're always talking about these stories. He goes, do it. And I was like, no.
Right.
Not gonna. And he's like, and then he came home with this really nice laptop and he goes, now what's your excuse? And I was like, fine, I'll do the damn thing.
Right. We love a supportive husband. Yeah. Yes. No. It's so nice because I feel like a lot of times like we don't get support from the ones we want support from when it comes to writing. Like they just don't get it. You know, they don't know what the appeal is or anything like that. So we love a good showing up with a laptop. Who can say no to that? Right?
He's been the IT guy. He's been my mechanic, and he was just like, "Now you got to do the damn thing." And I was like, "Yeah, I do."
Yeah.
I finally. But what really brought this to fruition was about 3 years ago. In 2021, I lost somebody who had shown a lot of interest in the story, and I lost him very, very suddenly. He was like a dad to me, and he never got to see it published. And that was really the wake-up call of he was so invested, and I felt like I let him down. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to finish this, and I'm going to get this published. If it can be trash, but it's going to be published because then I can be like, I did it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, congratulations on publishing that, getting that story out into the world. I kind of did the same thing to my dad. I'd written like 40,000 pages of a novel and printed it out. And then he read it all and was like, oh, this is so interesting. What happens next? And I was like, I don't know yet. And then I never finished writing it. And so I kind of like left him hanging on like his 40,000 words. Yeah.
His favorite thing to ask me was every time I would see him. I was actually working in home health care. This is how I met him. We got very, very close. And his favorite thing to ask me when I would we would just come by to visit at that point. I ended up quitting a job so we could actually have that connection.
Yes.
And his favorite thing to ask me was, so have you killed anyone new yet? And how? Can I know? And I'm like, not yet.
Right.
Those are later books. Like I can't go killing everybody off in here.
In book one. Right. That makes it a little difficult when you have to keep adding characters. Oh, that's too funny.
I'm totally right there with you though, that sometimes you get this main character in your head and you're just weaving these stories about this person and you're like, you know what? I think this might be it. This is the story that I want to write. Like the other little plots are still like there's something kind of magnetic about this character that you want to write him so badly that you're not distracted by other story ideas.
And I'm a big reader, and so when Eddie came into the picture, you've read it. I've read most of it. He's very problematic. Daisy was actually the second character to come along, and she was the one that was like, "Why are you such an ass? Like, absolutely not. Knock it off." And I was like, "Okay, little blonde menace. Where did you
Right.
come from? And from there, that's just where the whole world. She was just like, I'm not going to have this. Shut up. Go back to your little corner of the brain.
Right.
Every
Right.
protagonist needs that balance to them, you know.
Yeah.
Someone to hold a mirror up to them and show them themselves. The contrast.
Yes. Yes. No, and I think that having that little Spitfire who puts him in his place is like a great chemistry for a romance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So for you, what is the most important part of writing?
Getting the story out there.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that you tell it the way you want it. You're not writing for anybody else. I mean, technically you are, but if you are afraid it's not going to see the light of day, or if you have any doubts, that's fine. Have those doubts. But at the end of the day, just get the story down. You're writing it for you, and you have those ideas for a reason. You wanted to do it for a reason, so do it. That is the most important part. Don't give up. Don't back down. Don't back up. Don't back down. Do it.
Those are good words. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's very true though. You started the story for a reason, so seeing it through to the end is definitely like a worthwhile endeavor. I like thinking about it that way, because a lot of times it can get frustrating when you're writing and you're stuck, or you're going through that middle part trying to figure out how to get to the end. But like just reminding yourself, like, oh, the story came to me for a reason, and I wanted to tell it. Yeah,
Yes.
that can be very motivational.
It doesn't even have to, like, that's why they're called rough drafts. Even if it's for you, it's done though. You did the thing. You got it down. If it doesn't see the light of day, that's fine. It's rough draft. You knew what you wanted.
Yeah.
Rough draft with its like problematic saggy middle.
Right. Yes.
Oh man, when
deal with later. Yes.
Mine are never gonna see the light of day. Those rough drafts.
Right.
I was writing on my phone. There were words that were not words. I did not catch.
Right.
But I still did it. I did it.
Yes. Yeah. You should be very proud, because a lot of people say they have a novel in them and they don't get it out. So we usually ask about whether you're more of a character or a plot author. I think you kind of have answered it though, because you started with the characters. So how do you get to know your characters to then write the story?
When I'm getting to know my characters, I know I'm using Eddie as my biggest example because he was first.
Yeah.
It's getting to know them is I listen to music. I'll read other works of like Western romances, or I'll go out and I'll be like, I'll have a really great day writing with my friends and my family. We'll have like the after parties and everything of a really good roundup and branding. And I'm like, this is kind of what I like to incorporate. It builds up what he likes. It's like you realize that he's connecting the dots as well. And they may be just like a figment of your imagination. They're just your characters. But it's like you'll do something and it'll be like, this appeals to me. And you can be like, okay, I can tie that to you. Like, I really like watching the PBR. He's a bull rider. He's an ex-bull rider, former, whatever you want to call it. And Daisy loves to barrel race. She loves to do breakaway roping. That was stuff that I did. And I associate that with her. So I will, if I'm feeling like I'm in a slump and they're not really wanting to communicate, I'll put on something that I associate with them. Music, shows. That's how I really hear their voices to me. And it's, once I start writing, it's like kind of like a movie playing in my head. I'm watching them actually do the thing after I make that connection again, where I'm like, okay, well, if this is what I have to do, this is what I'll do.
That's a really good idea, to get yourself in that zone of their being
right
in their head, listening to the music and doing things that they enjoy. Yeah.
Well, it's like I've never had honey roasted peanuts and a Dr. Pepper, and that's something that I guess is like more common out there, because I was kind of researching it in my like the Western area. I mean, I've like been there, but it was more family, friends. We never really left the ranches, and they didn't really do it. But I've never had a Dr. Pepper with honey roasted peanuts, and then that's Daisy's thing. And now actually I tried it and I was like, this is actually pretty good. So I'm like, okay, when you were being difficult, I'm going to do this because this is your thing. I'm going to get back in your mindset. Can you please come communicate with me?
No, that's really great. Finding a way to like tap into your characters and being able to like access that when you need to. It reminds me of method acting, but without like driving everyone around you crazy. Uh, you know what I mean? Because you're method acting.
I mean, bold of you to assume we're not driving everyone around us crazy.
Well, this is true. I don't know that that's a statement I can make.
My husband will look over me and he's like, "Is something wrong?" And I'm like, the characters aren't doing what I want, and like I can't, like, how do they do the thing I know where they need to go, but how do they get
Right.
there? And I go off
Right.
and he's just like, "Okay, well, as long as
Good
you have
luck with
fun."
that.
Right,
You
right.
got this. You've done it before. Mine's
Yes,
usually like,
Godspeed, yes, Godspeed, and yeah, go with God. With that one.
I'll be blasting a certain song. He'll walk in and he'll be like, "Oh, it's one of those moments."
Yeah,
I'm going back to the
right.
top.
Yes.
You guys have your
Right.
time. You do your
Yes.
thing.
Oh, that's great that he doesn't interrupt. Oh my goodness, yes. What,
Oh no, that's my
like
kid.
I said, all
Love
the
them to
support.
death.
Love the supportive husband. Yes. Oh my goodness.
No,
So,
it's the kids that like to steep. It is
Yeah.
the kids that they'll be like, I'll be trying to type and they'll be literally over here with an unconnected keyboard and they're just smashing away. And I'm like, good, you do you. Just
right. It's
Oh,
like with cats.
cats.
It's like with cats. You give them their own laptop and they
Yeah.
leave yours alone. Yeah, yeah. No, I
That's
love
so
that.
nice. Mine are like, "Hey, do you have YouTube on there?" Like,
Right,
Can I
right.
watch that? Can I play that? Can I write a story?
Yes.
And I'm in edits. No, not
Yeah,
edits.
right.
No.
Oh goodness, right. Do you have a favorite author, and what do you think they do well?
I do. I had a couple of them, and I was actually aggravating one of them today. It is Kennedy Sutton. She is
Okay.
incredible. She's got more drive in her than I do in my pinky finger.
Right.
First of all, that she's a machine. Like
she
this is
really is.
Yeah.
She's so helpful. She goes above and beyond. And if I can be even a quarter of what she is,
Right.
I'm ridiculously lucky to know her. But even if I didn't, her world is so immersive and fun. But it also has, it has those moments where you're just like, oh, why did you do that? That hurts me. Stop.
Yes, yeah.
Please don't. I need that
Right.
there. Like, just rip it right out.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
way that she just, her world is the way she builds it, and the way you fall in love with her characters, and the way that she just, you also don't have to wait too long. Again, she just, I want whatever she's on. I want whatever she's got, whatever.
Creativity that comes out so quickly.
3 books a year. She just keeps them coming. Yeah.
She does. She was
Yeah.
telling me earlier today. She's like, I wrote 20,000 words in like 6 days or something. And I was like, Kennedy,
wow,
I'm tired
yeah.
for you. I'm
Mhm.
tired for you.
Right. And she has small ones. Yes, little ones.
Mhm.
I don't know how she manages, but
She is a
I
rock star.
aspire. I aspire.
Yes. She is.
Yeah.
She is now goals. I was going over like tradition,
Goals.
the more traditionally published names and things like that. And I was like,
Right.
man, I was like teasing her. She's like, well, you could say that. And I was like, you don't think that's a little on the nose? She's like, no.
Right.
I was like, good, because it's true. I was like, you're the first one that came to mind.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yes.
We get
Yeah.
a lot of praise for her as an author. Yeah.
Yes.
We love it.
Uh-huh. I'm totally with you on her world building and all of that. Like, her characters breathe and they hurt and they bleed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're just with them every step. And it's funny that, like, I don't usually go for sad books. Like, that's not something I seek out. But I'm like, hurt me. Like,
Right, right.
Please,
hurt me.
if I can keep reading about them, just do it. It's fine.
Yes.
I'll make it. I'll walk it off.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I have been fortunate enough to meet Kennedy, and I really am terrified to get into the books though, because I'm like, I cry all the time. Do I really need another reason to cry? Like,
Yes, you do.
I don't want the stabby books right now. My mental health is like clinging clinging to the, to stability.
Well, I
But
think
we love a
that
good book like that. Yeah.
part of the magic is that she hurts you and then she heals you at the same time.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I love a good author like
It-
that.
it works
That is
out.
able to do that. Yeah.
because I have read other authors where like they're just beating their main characters up and killing people
Right.
right and left, and you're like,
Why?
well, I don't care now though. You know, like
where's
I
the
don't
feel
care. I
good?
don't
Yes,
find this
yes.
compelling. You're just being sad for the sake of being sad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
And she doesn't. She gives them their growth. She gives them the reasons legitimately why this happens. And it's
Right. Yeah. That's so nice when because if there's anything I hate, it's like shock for shock value's sake. So you know what I mean? With they do that a lot in media with like movies and TV shows where they're like, we're gonna put the character through all this grueling hardship for no reason other than to like surprise the audience. Yeah.
and then we're gonna kill them at the end, and you're like,
right.
why did I?
It
do
was-
why,
that?
why you write it?
Yes. Why did I
Why
even
did
go
you-
through this? Yeah.
10 out of 10. Don't recommend.
Right. Right. Yes.
All right. What have you learned from the writing process?
You're gonna suffer, but you're gonna be happy about it.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
Yes.
No, that's so true though. That is so true.
You, I have learned patience.
Yeah.
Because I thought when I was little bitty, it was just you write it and it's good and it's perfect and no, you learn time management, you learn patience, you learn a lot. You also learn how to build your community. There's so much, but mostly patience. You can't write a good book if it's rushed because you can tell it was rushed. Or there are some that, even if they are rushed, they can be decent, but you also can't rush building your fans. You can't rush making the friends. You can't, going into this, I thought it was going to be just like slapdash easy. But again, I was young, I was naive. It's really just taught me that. It's taught me time is a thing. It's with work, with my business, with my kids, with everything around me. It's patience. Because if you don't have that, you're not writing that night. You're not writing that week.
Right.
You're not getting anything done. You got to just find the steady ground. Find it.
Right. Right.
Yes.
And the crappy thing about patience is it's something you have to practice continually. I just like I probably am one of the most impatient people I know. I'm not the most impatient person I know, but I'm one of them. And it's something that I've had to struggle as like, starting as a teenager with like developing that skill, because it is a skill that you don't have necessarily when you start out. You just have to work on the patience. I am very impatient when I'm driving though.
Yes,
I have a certain
goes right out the
I
window.
go, and if you're slowing me down, especially because like I do long drives, like I travel a lot. So like when I hit my threshold where I'm like I need to not be driving anymore, and someone's going like 500 in front of me, I'm like patience is gone out the window.
Oh yeah.
I left Patience back in my last destination. She's no longer with us.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's a good thing to learn and to practice.
The most patient, impatient person.
Yes, right. I
agree,
will
though.
be
Yeah.
very impatient about how I'm practicing patience, but we're still practicing the patience. We're just like, girl,
Yeah,
Mhm.
it never stops. I was actually
Yeah,
with my son today, and I was like, you need to have a little more patience because you're doing your thing.
Mhm.
It's fine. It'll
Yeah.
get there when it gets there, but man, you're killing me.
Yes.
right, especially with kids, because you're like, they have to learn to do it for themselves, but goodness, it takes them 15 minutes to get there. Yeah.
He's like, I can put my own pants on. I'm like, yeah, sure. I only gotta go to work soon.
Any day now.
Right, anytime, yes.
Yes. I completely agree with you that patience as an author is absolutely vital.
Yeah.
You have to give yourself patience when you're going through a rough patch where you don't know what to write. You have writer's block. It's not coming. You're not inspired. You have to have patience to just write the thing.
Right.
Like I think so many of us would love to just go into a montage and like have a good few days. Like, no, this is months and months and months of writing and rewriting and editing. And even then, after that, you got to give it to an editor and be patient while they edit it, and be patient with your beta readers, be patient with your ARC readers. And then if you, heaven help you, if you go into trad writing, traditionally published, your book could come out in like 2 years.
Yeah.
Like after it's all accepted and published, like it's this is a very slow moving machine for the most part, with a few exceptions, but like it requires
writing is definitely a marathon, not a sprint. It's completely a different beast than, because like most people, when they imagine writing, they're like, writing, that's what you do, and then you're done and you have a book, and it's there's so much more involved with it.
You type the end and it's done. Ta-da! Like
it'll be printed. It's great. It's like
I never have to look at it again. Like, no, you're gonna read that sucker 100 times and hate it. You know what I mean? Before you even give it to your editor, and then you receive it with all the like red marks, and then you got to read it again.
Oh,
and then better,
And here's the thing that everyone I know goes through. You get your published book, you open it to a random page, and bam, there's a typo.
There's a typo. Yes.
Every time.
Oh my gosh. They are insidious, those typos. They survive. Like, we were talking about in the last episode we recorded, and I was just like, they're like cockroaches. They just
keep
resilient. Yeah.
They will survive the nuclear fallout, but they will get by everything.
They will get by all the rounds of edits and proofing that you do. And then, like you said, you open a random page and you're like, oh, there she is. So, very, very fun.
All right. If you could tell a new author one thing, what would you tell them?
If I could tell a new author one thing, it would probably be that you'll get there. It's gonna suck. I'm not gonna, I'm not a baker. I don't sugarcoat shit. It's gonna suck because there are 1,000 reasons. It's not easy, but you're gonna get there.
Mm-hmm.
If you really got that ambition, you will get there.
That's
100%. Yeah, you just got to be persistent and stick with it. Mm-hmm.
If you want to make it, you're gonna get there. Just keep reminding yourself of why you want to get there.
Yes. No, I love that. So, mom, wife, business, writing. How do you make time for writing with everything? And then riding horses and everything. So,
I honestly don't know. Caffeine, sugar cookies and spite. Shortbread and spite.
Right.
It's a lot of spite. You're gonna tell me I can't, and I'm gonna do it.
Yes.
I write, like I said, there are so many awful errors in my rough drafts because 90% of the time it is on my phone. I have a doc open and I'm just typing in my 5-minute breaks, or I'm, we're down at the shop today and my little one was running around occupying himself, and I was like, okay, I can crank out a few words here and there. I still have to make time for I already taking care of all the animals. I started setting routines for myself. I had to have a routine. I don't know if you realize I thrive in chaos, but this was not something that was working in my typical setting. So I started to actually just like, okay, I get up, I do this, and then I do this. And it finally started to all kind of fall into place and click.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, as a postal worker, my job is not always working with my routine. It's like,
right.
I know I have a set day off, and I'll be like, okay, I can do this day at this time. I can do this then. I can do that then. And I'll lay my day out, and then they'll be like, hey, so-and-so called off. You need to be here 10 minutes ago. And I'm like,
awesome. Okay. Yeah.
Throw a wrench in it. It's fine.
Right.
We have
keep on rolling.
Yeah, we have a big festival coming up. I'm making a lot of stock. I was pouring candles yesterday. I had my laptop on the table. I had my candles off to the side, and I was going between the two. I was like, I can do this, and then I can go right. And then I found the pattern of I can flow in between some of the things.
Right.
My husband is very supportive. He does, when I'm like, hey, I have no ambition to do anything. I don't want to go deal with the horses. I don't want to go deal with the chickens. I worked all day. It was a very bad day. I'm getting home at like 7:00 at night.
Right.
They're yours. He will step up. He will go do it. He'll feed. He'll take care of all the chores. He'll get the kids ready, and he would just give me that space to decompress. And then it's more of a team thing because he is just as busy as I am. He is a manager at a big company. He has his shop. Like, it's a thing, and it's routine. It comes down to routine for both of us, and knowing that even though sometimes we do butt heads, it's like, okay, talk it out, work it out, and make it work, because the only thing that's going to happen if it doesn't is it's all going to come crumbling down, and neither one of us want that.
Right. No, that's great that it's like he picks up when you need him to. Like, he picks up the slack because you're just like, I had a horrible day. Like, you deal with chickens. Like, yes. I'd be passing off the chicken duty every day. Chickens, I mean, they peck you.
No. Okay, so I take that back. Okay. They don't like him as much as they do me. They're spoiled.
Right. Okay.
But I love my ladies, my little feathery,
Yeah, your little girlfriend. No. I remember somebody telling me about their clownfish biting them, and I was just like, animals will just bite. You know what I mean? That's just a fact that I picked. That's what I gathered from that. I was like, okay, animals are gonna bite you, so I'm only gonna go around certain animals.
Don't blame you.
Right. Because I was just like, he was like, he literally bit the hand that feeds him. He was trying to clean out the tank, and the clownfish just went after him, and I was just like, dang, a fish will bite you. Like, any animal will just bite you if it feels like it, I guess. But yeah. Sorry.
We walked to the car yesterday with our littlest, and I have 2 roosters, and they're normally very calm, very tame.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, the younger one, he's 7 months old, decided he's going to be big man on the totem pole, went after my husband, and all of a sudden I heard it was absolutely not. I saw my rooster go flying, and I was like, what did you do? And he goes, taught him a lesson.
Oh, goodness, right. He got a little too big for his britches there.
I just saw red fly across the yard, and I was like...
Right. Well, at least it was the chicken and not your toddler that went flying across the lawn. That would have been a different story. That would have been a whole different ending to that story. Oh, goodness. Yeah. Wild times. Do you have a favorite part of writing? Track. Yeah. Do you have a favorite part of writing?
I think it's actually bringing the story to life and bringing the characters to life. Because most of the time, I'm a pantser. I have no idea what they're going to do. So I'm just like, oh, hey, I'm just as excited as my reader right now because I don't know what you're going to do. I'm just here to tell the story. And that's what I love, is getting to really see the adventures play out in my head and bring them to life and, just basically go along for the ride that everybody else is getting ready to go on. Yeah. That is what I love about it. That's what keeps me coming back.
Do you have a least favorite part of writing?
Edits and commas.
Okay. Right. Commas. I love a comma. I'm an editor though, so I love my commas. But I feel like a lot. It's a pretty common occurrence when I do edits for people that they're like, I thought I knew commas, but I don't. Like, I really don't.
Oh, you're talking about me.
I
thought I understood commas. I thought I understood capitalization.
That's one I'm awful at. It was like, it's a name. It's supposed to be capitalized, and everybody's like, no. I knew I didn't know commas. I was the first to admit I didn't know commas. I sprinkled those in like the guy with the salt. I'm like, here's a comma.
Salt Bay. Yes.
Edits are, man, they're the worst though.
Yes.
They're necessary.
Edits are so humbling.
They are. They really are. But
yeah. I will say the only reason why I know commas is because I tutored ESL, right? So when you're you have to know it to teach it. So that's the only reason why I know it really well.
She had to
That
learn the rules, not
I
just like
had to
know all
learn the
vibes
rules.
like
Yes,
us.
yes. I'm not just operating on intuition and vibe.
God, I wish it was
But-
vibes, because I think that's what I was doing with the capitalization. Was like, no, I knew what I was doing. My
Right.
teacher told me it's a name back in high school, and
Yeah,
everybody's like,
yeah.
no, that's not how capitalization works.
Right. Oh my gosh.
All
And
right.
then you throw in the other punctuation, and like people are just hopelessly lost, I think.
I pretend it doesn't exist.
Right.
Like I have commas, periods, and that's it.
Not to mention the controversy over adverbs and passive
Yes.
voice
Yeah.
and just everything else people can find to nitpick, over
Yes.
writing styles. Like there
I
are
really
good
hate
rules
when
to
people-
follow, but some
Yeah.
people get really, really stringent about like, no, it's a rule, and you're like, no, it's a guideline. Like
It's a guideline, yes, and rules are meant to be broken if you understand them enough to break them. I really hate when people like rail against passive voice, because like oftentimes they don't understand what passive voice is. Like I've had so many authors say like, you can't use was because that's passive voice, and I was like, excuse me, like was running through the woods, like it's not passive voice. It's like there are grammar conventions that require the word. But yeah, like even true passive voice, like when it is passive voice, is not always bad though, because you can say like the hours wiled themselves away, or time passed slowly. Like you can find ways of saying things that are very like poetic and nice ways of stylistically saying things that are using passive voice. Do you want to use it all the time? Like no, but I hate when people are like, you can't ever use it. It was out of your manuscript, and I'm like, it's a word that we use a lot with other things too. Yeah.
what influences your writing?
What influence? My life. My daily life, working with the animals, being around the animals, doing the rides, introducing my kids into it. It is a very big passion of mine, and it's something that I strive to make sure I can achieve and get across the page. Is what influences me. Is that I can, since I know it so well, I want to make sure that my reader isn't struggling to be like, what is this? Like, what is she? She's talking a foreign language to me, and I'm like, no.
Right.
What would you say has been your most significant writing victory so far?
Getting to the end.
Yes.
Good one.
That is such a
Actually
good one. Yeah.
achieving it. Getting there. It was, like I said earlier, I have a lot of imposter syndrome, and
Yeah.
Speaking of Kennedy, because she's a machine again. It was always like, am I worth doing this? Because like there are so many people with more
Right.
talent, but I was like, no, I'm gonna do it. So I did it. It was getting it done.
Mhm.
Yes. No, that is quite an accomplishment. Kudos to you for getting it done, for sure, because it's not easy. Out of everyone who wants to say they want to write a novel, very few actually do. Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking with a friend. She goes to a therapist. She's writing a novel, and her therapist was like,
Wow.
I couldn't make 2 chapters. She goes, I started trying to write. She's like, I was like, oh, I have an idea, and I tried, I'm gonna write. And she goes, I got 2 chapters in and went, never mind.
Right.
Like,
It is an
get it done.
endeavor. Yes, it is definitely an endeavor. Yeah. So it's like, yes, I'm all for celebrating every victory. Like, finish the draft, celebrate. Finish editing, celebrate. Send it to the editor, celebrate even more, because you don't have to look at it for 6 weeks. Like, so yes, it's definitely an accomplishment that you should be proud of and celebrating. Yeah. All right. I'm going to ask my favorite question. What is writing advice that you hate?
I'm a rebel, and I don't really listen to any advice.
Exactly. Yes.
It's kind of one of those, I go my own way. But when people are like, well, basically only write the tropes that are popular,
Right.
because then your book will sell. Then that's how we get too many books with too many tropes crammed in, and they're not the best. It's write for yourself. Don't write for others. Um, just don't try to like let everybody tell you how to write your story. If your story is your story, go with it. It's there. You're not writing for them.
Right.
Let me tell you
Yeah.
what do it.
Right. No, I know what you mean though. There's a level of like if you're enjoying writing your book, that's going to show to your readers. They're going to enjoy it more. So trying to force your book to fit into whatever's trending or popular, oftentimes you're going to miss the trend anyways because it doesn't take. Most authors take more time than Kennedy does to write. So you might miss the trend trying to write to trend.
Yes.
So you should write what you're passionate about.
Yeah, and even traditional publishers can still, like you were saying earlier, they can still take a while. And by then that was a complete mistake.
Right.
The trend's passed. So don't try to tell somebody that, I don't like it when people like, well, so and so told me that, this is what's popular, so this is what I'm gonna write. And I'm like, nope.
Right. Write what you have a passion for, the story you have a passion for telling. That's good advice. Yeah.
There are so many people who are so ready to tell you, oh, that'll never sell because that's not the popular thing. Or they'll say, oh, that's so overdone. Like you should do something more original. Like there is no pleasing everybody.
Right.
So you might as well write your story and please yourself.
Exactly.
Yes, because other people will find it that like it.
Yes.
Exactly. And the whole, it's already, it's overdone, it's oversaturated. Well, then nobody could do anything because from the years prior, if we're taking, we're not taking even just everything's technically oversaturated. So no.
Right. There's no original stories anymore. Yeah. It's just how you tell it.
And no one has written it the way that you have written it.
Exactly.
Right.
Only you can write that story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That is good advice to not like.
Yes.
All right. So, Ivy, where can people find out more about you online? Where should they follow you?
I am really active on my Facebook. I'm active on my Instagram and TikTok. I'm very chatty over on TikTok. I like to boost people up. I am very much a cheerleader. I probably need to make more of my own videos rather than being like, you're doing great. I'm so proud of you.
Right.
If you want the cheerleader, I'm the cheerleader. But that's where mostly you will find me is TikTok. And if we lose that, then I will be more active on Instagram. It's got the same kind of, options. So that's where I'm actually trying to build my fan base more. I still don't have a website yet. I'm working on that. I married my IT guy. My IT's not my ITing, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we gotta get on that.
But that's that. Or, if you can't get a hold of me, there are probably about 6 other people that are like, hey, hello? Come back to Earth. Like, we need you here.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you. It's been a really fun conversation.
I'm so honored that you guys had me here. I've had a really good time doing this, and I'm so thankful that you guys gave a chance on me. I appreciate it so much. You guys have been amazing. This has been fun.
Oh, thank you.
The main reason we wanted to do this show was to help shine more light on new authors, emerging authors, especially indie authors, although we do have our fair share of traditionally published authors as well. But no, like it's wonderful to get to know so many different people. You meet the best people on this show.
Yes. We've been really blessed with wonderful guests. But thank you to everyone who's listening along at home. Remember, there's more than one way up the mountain, and our next episode airs Friday as usual. If you're interested in being a guest on the show, you can find us at The Tellnut Show on social media or email us at thetellnutShow@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks again for listening. If you enjoyed the show, consider subscribing and liking. We appreciate all the support. Julia J.K. Allen is an author, editor, and coach and can be found at hijinksrudder.com.
Kirsha Fox is an author, avid reader, gamer, and mother to 4, and you can find her at kirshafox.com. Thanks and see you next time.